the government is back for round 2, everybody. Herbal supplement Kratom linked to injuries, deaths, FDA warns. Yeah. So the DEA, not that long ago, tried to ban Kratom. But what happened is they opened it up to a comments period, and 99.9% of the comments told them to fuck off. And that might be literal. Might be literally 99.9%, and I would be surprised if that whatever remained was like people they paid to post negative stuff about Kratom. Now, that doesn't always tell the whole picture, because as we know with net neutrality, almost all the comments for net neutrality were like, hey, Ajit Pai, fuck off. Don't you dare. Don't you dare gut net neutrality. So everybody agrees, but the government's like, yeah, we're going to go in the opposite direction because they're corrupt. Now, I'll get to that in a second here, but they say in this article, quote, the FDA said it is aware of 36 deaths involving products made with Kratom and hundreds of calls to poison control centers. Now, that is totally misleading. Point number one is 36 you probably get 36 deaths per day from alcohol. Nobody's talking about banning alcohol. Nobody. Okay? So that's point number one, is look at the double standard. Alcohol, whatever, we baked it into the system, hashtag freedom. But Kratom, oh my God, 36 deaths, we must go crazy. It's like, again, 36 deaths a day versus 36 deaths was all we could find through history. Now, furthermore, we covered this a while ago when the DEA first tried this. If you look at the details of every single case that involves Kratom and death, there was a mix of drugs. So it's not the Kratom. It's not the Kratom. It was a mix of drugs. Now, on top of that, look, there could be unscrupulous dealers out there. The unscrupulous dealers are people who are selling fake product, you know? So the answer is not banning. The answer is perhaps reasonable regulation. I wouldn't be opposed to reasonable regulation, but no, they go nuts and they go nuclear immediately, and they want to ban anything that's popular that's outside of the current system. And again, I'm hinting at it, but I'll get to it more clearly in a second. But listen to this. This is the FDA commissioner. Here's what he said. There is no reliable evidence to support the use of Kratom as a treatment for opioid use disorder. Really? Except for the fucking tens of thousands of people who will tell you exactly that, but you just want to dismiss them. Patients addicted to opioids are using Kratom without dependable instructions for use, and more importantly, without consultation with a licensed healthcare provider about the product's dangers, potential side effects, or interactions with other drugs. We've learned a tragic lesson from the opioid crisis that we must pay early attention to the potential for new products to cause addiction, and we must take strong, decisive measures to intervene. The outset, the FDA must use its authority to protect the public from addictive substances like Kratom, both as part of our commitment to stemming the opioid epidemic and preventing another from taking hold. So here we go. That is the grossest conflation I've ever seen. Because tens of thousands of people will tell you, no, Kratom saved my life. I was addicted to opioids. You can overdose on opioids. And I stopped taking opioids. I take Kratom. You can't overdose on Kratom. You throw up if you have too much Kratom. All the deaths that are linked to Kratom, it was a mix of drugs involved, and they don't know that it was the Kratom that did it. There's way more evidence that it's not, because nobody overdoses from it. If you just have Kratom and you take too much, you'll throw up. You don't overdose from it in the way that you'd overdose from opioids. So people will tell you, no, the Kratom saved my life from an opioid addiction. But now the FDA steps in and says, no, it didn't, and Kratom is a new opioid addiction crisis. It's not an opioid, and people aren't addicted. So how's it a fucking crisis? And nobody's overdosing. How's it it's not a crisis. What you're doing is you're saying, hey, basically the treatment for the problem is the same as the problem. Now, I've been hinting at it all throughout this story so far. What's the reality of the situation? Big Pharma's invested in not having anything like Kratom come up. It'll cut into their profits. Kratom is a safe, natural alternative. And by the way, as I've spoken on the show before about, I take Kratom from time to time. Not for any medical purpose or because I had a problem or anything. No, I take it because I view it's like a supplement for me. You know, for the show, it requires so much prep goes into every episode of Secular Talk. Every single episode has a tremendous amount of prep. It's hard for any human being to focus for the extended period of time that you need in order to do the prep. So I'll take some Kratom and it helps me focus. It helps me focus. It's also good in that it reduces anxiety massively. So it's something that I take from time to time. I've had 0 downsides with it. 0. Now, I don't mix it with anything, and I don't go nuts with it, but I've had no downsides at all. It's been nothing but a benefit for myself, for the show. But again, what they're trying to do is pretend like it's as bad as the opioid crisis, and really they want to crack down on it because it's cutting into the profits of the drug companies. That's the reality of it. And this is the same thing with marijuana too, by the way. Why is it 61% of Americans want to legalize marijuana now, but we don't have it legal yet? Because big pharma and tobacco companies and alcohol companies are lobbying against it because it cuts into their profits. They view it as competition. There's no question big pharma views Kratom as competition to them. So they get their bitches at the FDA to heal and do their bidding. Even when the overwhelming majority of people in the comment section for the DEA, when they tried this, they were like, hey, fuck you, man, this shit saved my life. They're going, yeah, agree to disagree. You say that. We say the thing that saved your life is as bad as the thing that maybe was going to take it. Oh, this is bad. Hell no. Hell no. Whenever there's something that pops up that's positive, whenever there's something that helps people, whenever there's something that's a natural supplement that can fight pharma abuse, they pretend like it's a crisis and it's a scourge. It's not a scourge. It's the solution. Keep your fucking hands off our Kratom.